Right on.
All right, cool. So Ben, thank you for joining us. If you want to go ahead, just kind of introduce yourself, where you coach, where you've been previously, and maybe how we know each other, so people kind of
Yeah, for
know the
sure.
score.
Hi, everybody. My name's Ben Boldt. I am the head coach at Concordia University in Seward, Nebraska, and I've had a quite a diverse, I would say, coaching path. We started, Maggie and I, we were at the University of Nebraska together at the same time doing undergrad. So when she was playing, I was the student manager, being actually also student manager, graduate manager at Nebraska. And we won the championship in '06. Boom, boom. Good
Yeah.
times.
Yep.
And then after that, I became the assistant coach at the University of Alabama. And that was my first job, and learned a lot on the job. And from there, I went to the University of Iowa. And then from there, I went to the University of Arkansas. And then my wife and I have been making all these moves together. We decided at that point to move back to Nebraska, actually. I was the assistant coach at a JUCO, Iowa Western Community College. And Angie was the assistant coach at Nebraska Wesleyan. And then after that, we got an opportunity as a couple to be the coaches at Hendrix College, which is a D3 school in Arkansas. And we loved our time there. That was the first chance that we had to have our own program together. So that was super awesome. And then an opportunity popped up here at Concordia, and we were able to do that together as husband and wife. So it's right here. It's been really a recruiting thing for us to figure out our right fit and, where to go and all that kind of stuff. So, we go through all the same things that, a student athlete is looking at in finding the school that they want to go to.
Yeah, well, we're glad that you're back in Nebraska. Definitely glad.
Yeah, me too. Family's close.
Yeah. So the point kind of tonight is just to kind of talk through some recruiting questions that I've been hearing a lot. I think that there's a lot of concern with our players about, obviously with COVID-19 and everything being shut down. The biggest concern I'm hearing is how are coaches going to see me? How am I going to get new film to coaches? Am I going to be able to visit campus? So I think just kind of maybe talking through some of that stuff with you. Hopefully we can answer some of those questions, because these are a lot of questions that I don't really have the answer to right now. So I'm trying to reach out to people, that have more knowledge than I do. So maybe start with, what is your team doing right now? That's a big thing that we're trying to do, is engage our players. So what's something that you guys are doing with your players right now to keep them physically and mentally engaged?
Right now, we're trying to keep it as much as similar to what they would be doing if they were here at Concordia right now. We have meetings with our players every week. So that's something that we're continuing to do now through Zoom and other online platforms. There's a Blackboard Collaborate thing that Concordia has, but we're meeting with the people who are leading our team. We're having them come up with engaging activities. So they have some ownership in what the team is going to be doing. And then we also have our volleyball and our physical workouts that we send out to them. And we kind of hold each other accountable. We have a team Snapchat that we send pictures to after, we do a workout, and try to hold each other accountable and all that kind of stuff. Which is similar to some of the stuff that we do in the summer when we aren't all together. But it's fun sending your pictures of your sweat dripping off your face and all that kind of stuff. And some of the blooper reels that people send in are always good to keep everybody together and get a good laugh throughout the day. So those are some of the things. But really, we talk to our team about our priorities, and we would be talking to our team about this if they were here on campus. our number one's our faith, number two is our family, number three is academics, number four is volleyball, and then number five is your social life after that. So really, in this time, our priorities still don't change. We have to be great in that order. And if something gets out of order there, then we got to work to correct it.
So what would you say to some of the kids that maybe they're, it's hard, we come from these awesome tournaments, we're training at a really high level, we're doing all this stuff, to now we're asking our kids to do stuff at home by themselves with a ball or with a partner. And, sometimes that stuff can get monotonous, or that kind of like, what's the point? Why am I doing this? So what would you say to kids that's our only option right now? So what would you say to kids that are in that position that are kind of like, I don't know, like, is this really worth it? Like, should I be doing this? From a college coach perspective, what's your viewpoint on that?
Yeah, no, that's a great question. And they have to realize that everyone is going through this right now. Right. So that, it's not you just working by yourself while this other player over here is getting to go to the big tournaments and doing all that stuff. Everybody has the same 24 hours in a day, and everybody's going through the same thing right now. So whatever you can do to make yourself better, that is going to set you apart from everyone else. So, what you're doing by yourself that's getting monotonous, you can say that about going to practice, and how you push yourself during this time, and the ways you get creative doing stuff. I mean, when I was growing up, we didn't have high level clubs that we trained with. I literally passed the ball against the wall growing up. So I mean, that's what we know, and that's what we do, and that's how we fill our time. And if you believe that you're getting better, you're more than likely getting better.
Mm-hmm. So kind of to switch gears a little bit for recruiting, for our older players, what are the rules right now for recruiting? So obviously everybody's at home right now. So what are you, are there any timelines right now for recruiting? When are you hoping? I know lots up in the air. So what are you doing now for recruiting?
Yeah. So the current timeline for our school right now is that we're going to make a determination here about visits and visits. And this was information that we got about a couple of weeks ago, and we haven't heard anything different about that. Physical visits would be able to happen after that first week in May, which I think is, hold on, let me check a schedule here, which would start on May 4th. Now, we're still going to get a determination on that, and that's coming at the end of this week on figuring about physical visits. Okay. And to be honest with you, I don't know which way we're going to go. And the way things are going right now, it'll probably stay virtual. Okay. So what we've done at Concordia is we've continued to schedule virtual visits, and you can set those up through our website. And what happens on that is you meet with an academic advisor. You meet with an admissions person, and then you meet, if whatever sport you're interested in, you meet with the coach also virtually, just like we're doing right now.
Awesome. So that's something that regular students and student athletes can do right now.
Yep.
Awesome. That's really cool. I did not know that.
Yeah.
So what would you say to kids who, I know a lot of our kids are concerned, the last major tournament a lot of us played was Triple Crown or President's Day. Mm-hmm. So there's not a lot of new film. What would you say, what are some things that kids can be doing right now to help them with the recruiting process? We're not training, but it is a great time. We do have a lot of time to communicate. So what would be something that you would say would help kids stand out right now that they could be doing, or communication that they should be having with coaches right now?
I would say, and you guys have probably already been doing this before this thing hit, but you'll be able to put a little bit more time into it now, is your research and really figuring out what school I want to go to, and why. And so, I'd be looking at things like, why does this school appeal to me? I'm really going to take a look at that school And even without the volleyball piece, I think that might be the most important research part is why would I be interested in this school? And don't just put all your eggs in one basket. Start thinking about schools that kind of fit the profile of what you're looking for. So do your research on that and be specific. Once you find that school or those schools, be specific in reaching out to coaches about why you want to go to that school without volleyball. Like, this school is interesting to me because of this. I just had a really, really good email sent to me by someone who's in Nebraska that, is a local kid, which we love. And she says, Coach, I've been following your program for the last couple of years. I'm really excited that you guys seem to be getting better, and you made the Sweet 16 last year. That's awesome, and those little things, they shine through to coaches, and it takes a little bit more research and it takes a little bit more time crafting that email, but it is 100 times more attractive to a coach than a mass email that just says, "Hey coach, this is me." So be specific in why you want to go to that school and a little bit of history on the school and why it's important for you to be a part of that program.
That's so true. That's something that we really try to preach to our kids is to what's going to set you apart. So how are you going to make it personal? Right. Because coaches get so many emails, that are just blanket emails. Yeah. And I've heard from so many people that if it's just a blanket email that has no personalization, it goes right to the trash can. So
it's true. It's true. When I get something that's from a recruiting service that I get like 9 or 10 of those a day, and I've learned my lesson in that, where when I get those, I've tried reaching out to that kid before and they didn't even know that they sent me an email, so yeah. So I'm not saying recruiting services are bad. I'm saying that if you are interested in a school, you got to be specific. You got to do your research, and people ask, what can I do to be recruited and things like that. And, you have to make yourself recruitable. And the best way to do that is to work on your game and become a great volleyball player and be someone who these coaches want to go out and get. So I think that's my best advice, is make yourself a recruitable player.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah.
I always tell kids you can do all this work, but if you don't get better at volleyball, it's not worth much. So
exactly.
What was my next question? Summer camps. So what do you foresee? I know this is shaking a magic 8 ball. We really don't know.
Yeah.
Do you think that if, let's say in a perfect world, summer camps are up and running like normal, do you think that summer camps for kids that maybe are a junior or going into their senior year, that's going to be important, maybe a bigger piece than it's been in the past?
Yeah, probably. Since we haven't really been able to see anybody for the last month or so, I still think that camps are one of the best ways to get a good feel for the school that you want to go to, the coaches you want to work with, the people who are also looking at the school that might go there, to see if you fit with them. We at Concordia, we got a determination on our summer camps that we will get the nod whether or not we can do them for June on May 15th. So May 15th, they're going to make that determination whether or not we could do June camps. For our July camps, they're going to make that determination on June 15th. So that gave us a little bit of direction on whether or not we're even going to have them. But I do have to say, for schools like Concordia, where we're a smaller school, the camps are very, very important for our how we run our program, and you know, the way that we travel, the meals that we have during our season. That's a lot of that is funded by what we do in camp season. So it's not going to be a light decision for us. I know I saw the University of Kentucky. I just saw a tweet that they're not having camps or anything like that through July 31st. So they already made that determination. Which my thought was their camps are different than our camps, because our camps are funding our program. Mm-hmm. And it's not to say that their camps aren't funding their program. They just have bigger budgets that they can use.
Yeah, sometimes that goes more towards the camp staff,
right?
Individual things like that. So.
Right.
But I have a couple other friends coaching that have also informed me that their summer camps, some have been canceled, some haven't. So it'll be interesting to see like how everything shakes out. Which again, there's no way to predict the future, but
yeah,
just another element to this whole puzzle.
If I could predict the future, Maggie, I would stuff block every single ball, and I would get every single dig. And, you know, I mean, I haven't quite got there yet. You know, I'm trying to just.
I don't know. I've seen you play at a pretty high level, so I've seen it.
Oh, man.
And I guess kind of the last question, and then I'll let you, if you have any other stuff you want to add. What advice do you have for kids? You know, you talk about finding the right fit, and I think that this is the hardest thing as a club director to help kids with. It makes me feel very helpless, because the reality is that every kid's recruiting path and timeline is different. Some kids know where they want to go. Some kids don't decide till their senior year, you know, so what advice would you give for a kid? What are maybe some things to ask the coach or things to look for in helping a kid find the right fit in a program?
Yeah, that's a great question. I always think it's important to go to a practice, you know, and, you know, right now, obviously that's really tough to do. But the better you can understand how a coach works, how they communicate, all those things, the more informed decision you're gonna make, and probably the better one for you. There have been times in my career where you know, you go there, and you know, you're working with a coach, and you have that first week, and you're like, oh, this isn't exactly what I thought it was going to be. Mm-hmm. So, you know, I think the more you can get a feel for the coaching staff, you know, as you know, I always talk about how you are going to see that school or fit in that school without volleyball. Now, find that fit, number one, and then number two, find how the coaches interact with you and communicate with you. So, you know, as we're here in this day and age right now, when that's really kind of hard to do, I'm trying to, you know, the more that you reach out and the more that you can connect and see if you can get on the phone with them. I know it's not necessarily the best way to communicate. Ask if you can get on a Zoom with them. You know, if you're making yourself recruitable and all those things, that the coaches should want to know who they're recruiting and all that kind of stuff. But
is it Zoom call legal? So can players Zoom coaches? Or it depends on the level.
It depends on the level. Yeah. You know, okay. Like for us here right now, our level, the NAIA, yeah, we can do that. Yeah. That's a great point that you bring up. Zooming, I don't believe for D1 is allowed to happen until after your junior year. So, it's been a little while since I've been in D1, but I believe it's July. I think it's July 1.
I think they changed it last year. It's June 15th now.
June 15th. Okay. So June 15th after your sophomore year. So before your junior year, that you can do pretty much anything with D1s. But you have to wait till that point in time.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I would suggest if you're, you know, getting up to that point right now. So my sophomores right now that are going to become juniors next year, I would be doing my research on schools that I kind of want to go to, and where I want to reach out and be able to connect with those coaches. People who are juniors right now, fire away, get after it.
Do you think that connecting with players on the current team is a good resource and good way to kind of get to know maybe the culture of the program and things like that?
Yeah, I think so. A great culture is not going to be something that they're going to want to hide, you can get a good feel for that if you reach out to those current players that are on the team, and get the real idea of what's going on. So coaches need to be held accountable to what they do with their players, and if you get a good feel for that, then the better decision that you're going to make.
Awesome. Any other advice or anything else you kind of want to add for our players during this time?
Yeah, I mean, I had you had sent me a couple of just areas to highlight about this beforehand, about what makes a good highlight video or anything like that, and a couple of things popped out in my mind is that so like for front row players, outsides, middles, right sides, I'm probably going to make a determination on what level, if you can play at our level or not, based probably on one of your first 2 or 3 swings. So, so I would highlight the best ones that you have, and make those the first ones that the coaches see. It goes down to how much time you put into it. But the more highlights you have actually tells me how consistent you are. If you only have one highlight and then a bunch of balls that go in the net or, are just kind of roll shots or anything like that, then I know you might be able to do it once, but you're not going to be consistent at it. So keep the good swings right at the front there, so you can market yourself the best. And coaches are going to see that, and that's again what makes you recruitable. So keep working on your game. And again, remember, everybody is going through this right now. So nobody's pumping out new highlight videos right now. Okay, so continue to work on how on yourself right now, and if you want to go back in your highlight videos or the raw tape that you have and really get down the best and make a new highlight tape, this is a great time to do it.
That's great advice. I think that's something I've kept trying to reiterate, is everybody's in the same boat. So
right.
Hopefully that gives some people a little bit of peace of mind. And college coaches are on the same boat too. It's not like half the schools are getting to look at kids and the other half aren't. So
right.
I think that as long as our kids can, like you said, keep doing the research and putting in the work now, that's going to be super helpful. So
yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, you always have the best advice and best information. So I thought your recruiting seminar last year was amazing as well. So
I'll take that. I'll take that, Maggie. Anytime you can say that, boom. Well,
I mean,
I don't know. Right after it.
I don't know if it's you or if it's Angie, so I'm going to give you the credit. But I mean,
no.
We all know behind every great man.
Everything that I'm saying to you right now has been through the filter of what Angie has green lighted for me. So
I believe.
We're a two-headed monster on the recruiting front. Actually, she's a whole lot better with the logistics and all that kind of stuff. So I mean, she's getting on the phone and being awesome.
I mean, she worked for Coach Cook, so she knows.
Right.
Organized.
Yeah. We all have the same foundation. We're all B-side all-stars, Maggie.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Ben. I really appreciate your help. Again, we're going to send this out to our players. So we really appreciate you kind of helping guide us through this really uncertain period of time. So
yeah,
hopefully
for
we'll
sure.
see you in the gym sooner rather than later.
Yeah, anytime. I can't wait to see the new facility.
I know. Hopefully soon.
Everybody, right?
I know.